Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name, in case it's your first time seeing me, in case you're watching my channel or my video, my name is Barbara Dipuka Molabore, aka Barbs, aka Dipuka. I just felt like I wanted to introduce myself like that because I'm really liking my full name. I think it's a beautiful leader type sounding name of one. Like, who's that? Oh no, that's Barbara Dipuka Molabore. You know, I love it. So I just woke up from a nap. I just woke up from I want to say a fat nap, but I think it was just like 45 minutes to an hour. But I needed that nap. So I'm one of those people who when they're sad, it's just like, nah, you know what? I'm just gonna take a nap. Because I think when I think about it, I just thought about it right now. I was like, I think the reason why I do this is because you remember in the previous video I told you guys how my brain just is a mean ass, like a big ass processing machine, like everybody's brain is, but I process and process and process and process and think, were you right, were you wrong, was he or she right, was he or she wrong, okay, this and this and this, and then this and this and this and then this and this and this. So I was just like, nah, you know what, I need a break, I need a nap. Then I took a nap. So yeah, hence why I'm in my bonnet. I was just like, I'm just gonna wake up right now. And I found myself thinking, so what do you want to do right now? I was caught in between going back to sleep, like forcing myself to take a nap again, and I was like, bruh, you're literally gonna wake up with a headache, just stop. And then I was watching some interview, and I was like, you can continue watching this. And then I was like, you know what, why don't I do what I love, which is sitting in front of a camera and just talking? Why don't you just do that? And I was like, you know what, that would actually cheer me up. Hence why we're here. So yeah, I'm in a bonnet right now. The light keeps hitting my face and then moving and then hitting my face. I'm sorry, the sun is setting, like it's at peak sun setting, moving around hour. So the light will hit my face and then it'll move, and then yeah, so please bear with me on that one. So yeah, I'm wearing a bonnet. This bonnet is I got it Moha Amanda when she was still doing this business, when she was still running a Duke business, but a Duke and bonnet business, but she's not anymore, you know, different seasons and all of that. But I really like it because it looks like a chef's hat or something. Is it chef? Do chefs have hats that are big like this? Yeah, they do. And I also like it because of how my ears look. Ears look when I'm wearing it. And I was thinking about it just now. I was like, that's so interesting, because right now I like hairstyles where my ears are like showing and they're big and all. But when I was younger, I really was not a fan of the size of my ears. I was just like, oh. But I don't think I ever had like major insecurities when it comes to my ears. I mean, they were there, but I feel like I had other features as well that just made me feel more insecure, like my teeth, like the size of my lips, like the size of my nose. My ears were big as well, but it was just like, yeah, that big. I mean, what must I do now? Must I kill myself? So it wasn't a major insecurity. I think the major insecurity was my teeth and my smile. But yeah, the other day, I think it was because of the hairstyle I had rocked. The other day, I got a compliment from somebody and they said I look like Lee Kuzwayo. And I was like, what? That's so interesting. And I especially loved the compliment because of the fact that Lee's ears are so big and round. I was like, I love that woman's ears. So thank you. So yeah, that one was honestly, when I say this is a video about nothing, that first part was nothing. I was not scripted, nothing. I mean, none of these videos are really scripted, but I usually have an idea of what I'm going to talk about. Let me get into the second part. I love the way my voice sounds like horse nyana kare. Yeah, like it's genuinely that I just woke up kind of voice. You know what? I was just thinking about it just now. This year has been so interesting for I think for so many people, for me, it wasn't that eventful. I just think it was interesting. I was thinking about work especially, and you know, I realized that the what's it called, the industry that I personally work in is very trial and error. By the way, if you don't know this, I work in social media. I work in digital and social media. I work in advertising in general. I work in advertising. So it's just like, for instance, you're deciding that you want to curate your Instagram a certain way. I think because of the way society is set up, please, I beg of you, please fly, just get out of the car. Got out. Anyway, please don't come back. The way society has been set up, the way the world is set up nowadays, you think that, just going back to what I said in a previous video as well, that everybody has to be like, not even a pro, but everybody has to be good at that first attempt at something. It's not, the society isn't very allowing for anybody to be a beginner. So it's like, even when you come on with a client, it's like, because you said you work in advertising, you work in digital, you're supposed to be good at this, you're supposed to get it like upon being hired as agency client. You're supposed to get it, and you're supposed to fix my things and make it like good and make my content fire. But I got to recently realize that with anything, you need to trial and error certain things. You need to trial and error certain things and figure out what works for the both of you. Sometimes the client itself may have certain reservations about certain things. You may be excited about trying certain things. Client may have certain reservations about certain things. Then you have to then adapt and amend according to the client's reservations. And then you put out that content and you're like, okay, but this, I know that I initially envisioned this, but okay, after a few months you look back and you're like, okay, this doesn't look good. Okay, let's try this. And then it'll just be like trying something different until it looks and fully represents what you both are like trying to do, or what you both want and want to communicate. And then it also just is received well out there after trial and error. And I find it so interesting because between that period, I mean, when you're first starting out and you're doing all of this, there's just a lot of anxiety, whether you realize it or not. There's this anxiety, and especially when the client has certain reservations and when you're just like, okay, this is what I want to do. There's just a lot of anxiety because obviously there's a vision you have, but it doesn't necessarily coincide with what, like I said, the brand, or in general what the client believes that that brand should look like. So it's just in that moment it's more frustration than anything. But as you begin to try to create according to this, there's just a lot of anxiety, like I said, whether you realize it or not. And then you create something and you're like, ish, I don't like how this looks, but because of certain pressures, maybe you put it out, and then when you look at it in retrospect, you're like, hey, I really don't like this. And then you try to, like I said, restructure, you try to do something different until you finally get there. And like I said, in between this period, it's just like mad anxiety. You just feel like you can't do anything right, really. You're just like, and it's quite disheartening. It's quite disheartening, and not counterproductive, but you just feel taken aback and for a while until you get it. So social media, whether I use the example where I work and all of that, social media in general is like that. When you're first trying to discover or decide on your Instagram feed or whatever, it's just like trial and error. You won't just wake up and your aesthetic is just gonna be, you wake up and sit down and then draw or go on apps and whatever and then have the aesthetic. It takes a little bit of trial and error until you find your rhythm, and it's very interesting. I think a lot of us at the moment are just afraid of actually trying, of actually just putting your foot forward and actually jumping into that process of trial and error. We'd rather be like, nah, I can't figure this out, so I'm not gonna do it, period. And I'm gonna say that now I'm very, very guilty of that. However, my job doesn't allow me to do that, so I will do that elsewhere. But when it comes to my own personal life, I just, you know what, I'm gonna just post a bunch of these pictures, and you know what, I it's fine. I don't know how to do that, so I'm not gonna do that. It's crazy. That's just one of the 10 things I want to talk about. I don't know how I genuinely went on that rant, like fully. But I was thinking about it earlier, and I was just like, I saw things come together in a certain way, and I was like, man, a few months ago, this was refusing to come together, and I was anxious. I was thrown off quite a bit. But looking at it now, I'm proud. Certain decisions were made and it just wasn't working. But now I see it. Now what we're doing now is working, and I love it. But anyway, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. What is the third thing I wanted to talk about? This one, I don't know if it needs a full video or what I should do. Guys, I will repeat it again. I am in love with sitting in front of a camera, but I do not like the process of editing videos anymore. I've filmed a video yesterday, but now that I think about sitting down and editing that video and this one, I want to scream. My phone. iMovie. This new thing, my boss was like, loma these days, and it's hilarious to me. I love it so much. I find it hilarious, honestly. So I think in closing, I think this video is going to be quite long. I feel like I didn't do much. I didn't too much. So I swear to you, I'm just gonna put this video in its rawest state, maybe slap on some music and then post it to eliminate excuses, right? So the last thing I want to talk about is what I've been meaning to talk about in like the past few videos. I've been thinking about it a lot, but I was trying to like nail down exactly what I want to say. And cognitive dissonance is the existence of two opposing ideas or identities within a person, within a person's mind, or just within a person's, just like I said, identity. So these are two opposing identities within a person. The most common example of cognitive dissonance is that they give, especially when you just Google or YouTube cognitive dissonance, is of a smoker. This, not any smoker, a smoker that is a smoker, but at the same time, they believe that smoking is bad and it's disgusting and it kills people. So imagine this. You're a smoker, you smoke every day, you smoke like, let me say, how many times does a typical smoker smoke? Between morning and lunch, probably twice. Between after lunch and evening. Evening there are 6, maybe twice or 3 times again, and then between evening and bedtime maybe once again. So maybe let's say about maybe 6 times a day, maybe 5 to 6 times a day this person smokes. But they have this belief system or this idea that they have in their head that is from various, like maybe religion, maybe just science and all of that. They have this idea in their head that smoking is bad for them, smoking is disgusting, and smoking kills. And they especially find smoking disgusting. So what happens, because you have these two opposing ideas, is that it causes great anxiety within you and your life. It's just like, man, I hate smoking. Shit is disgusting. But you're like, this guy's doing it though. And it's just like, I hate this shit. It's like, oh, that's interesting, but you're actively doing it. And like I said, it causes great anxiety in your life because you're just like, I absolutely, hi! It's like, I absolutely hate this. This is disgusting. I'm gonna die. But you can't stop doing it because yeah, sorry, in my neighbor. Yeah, you just have, yeah, it creates this great anxiety in your life because you just really don't like smoking, but you just, for the most part, you don't want to quit. You actually enjoy smoking. You actually enjoy smoking. So, what happens is that one of the solutions, for lack of a better word, to get over this whole dissonance that's happening in your life, or in your psychology, in your life, in your mind, is to accept. One of the solutions, one of the ways to get over this dissonance is to either accept. The second way is to just make a decision. Just make a decision. Are you a smoker? Aren't you a smoker? If we're talking about acceptance, we're talking about being like, this is another person. They're like, so you smoke? You're like, yeah, I do. How many times you smoke? About 6 times a day. Do you know it's bad for you? Yeah, hell yeah. But I like it. I enjoy it. And they're like, oh, okay, good chat. And then the other way is like being like, I'm gonna quit smoking. I don't like the shit. The shit is disgusting. It's gonna kill me one day. I'm gonna quit it. And then you quit it. Dissonance, stress, anxiety released, removed from your life. Not forever, but yeah, in that regard. But anyway, it's such an interesting topic, and I was thinking about it. I think about cognitive dissonance a lot because a lot of us have like these two opposing ideas and identities and many different things, whether it's bad habits or whether it's, I don't know. For me, I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure if this is like cognitive dissonance per se, but I think it is in some way. I have this idea or this belief that I'm a nice person. I've always thought that I'm a nice person. I've always thought of myself or regarded myself as a nice person. But more and more, as we grow older, you just find yourself just not, either just different things. It's either you have situations where you had to be firm, you had situations where you actually had to choose yourself, or you had situations where you're like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna be an asshole. I'm gonna be an asshole. I don't care. Like, no. So many different instances like this. Like, there's been a build-up. There's been like many different instances like this, especially since last year, where I've just decided that maybe I go out and there are just certain people that I personally don't want to interact with, so I won't. And the more I came into this version of myself, the more I started to feel like, man, you're such an asshole. But do I regret it? Do I feel like I shouldn't be like that? Absolutely not. All of those instances have actually contributed to positively to my mental health. Therefore, like I said, I don't regret any of the instances. I don't regret any of the situations. I actually think that this decision or this direction of my life has contributed like very, very positively to my life. So I don't know how to like break it down to you guys. I hope that I'm explaining it in the best way I can possible. But it's been a lot of choosing myself, doing what's best for me, saying certain things like it is, and just walking away from situations that bore the hell out of me. And because of that, I do often find myself at home or maybe at work or something, or maybe on my drives being like, man, you used to be so nice. And then the other part of me would be like, but I feel like you're not much of a really nice girl anymore. And then the other part of me would be like, the other side would be like, but like, for the most part, I still think I'm pretty nice. But for the most part as well, maybe sometimes I'm an asshole. And I do not regret it. And I do not think that it's a bad thing. And I am really happy with myself. So I don't care. It's okay. So it'll just be this like, oh, you used to be so nice. Oh my god, clinging on to this identity of I used to be a really nice girl, and then the other part of me being like, nah, I don't care whether I was an asshole or not, whether sometimes I can be an asshole. This is the happiest I've ever been. I am honestly not going out of my way to cause beefs, to cause trouble, to cuss people out. No, I am just living my life and living my truth, and I ain't got no problem with it. So it's just like this it's very mini, this mini sort of dissonance of trying to cling on to an ex-identity of mine that I don't think we should be describing ourselves as really nice anymore, guys. I don't think so. I think it's toxic. I think it's toxic. I think it's toxic. I think it's this idea or identity that we honestly want to cling on for the rest of our lives. And as we evolve, sometimes or most as we evolve, we're just normal human beings that, yes, we are nice for the most part, but when it's not necessary, or when in that moment I don't need to be nice or I don't want to be nice, I'm not going to be nice. So just clinging on to this idea of being, oh, I'm so nice, I don't want to do that anymore. So personally, but for the most part, guys, you can ask anybody, any of my close friends, get sharp, but they also know that when I don't like something, I don't like it, and I'm not gonna act like I do. So yeah, that's just basically what's been happening in my brain. Like, this is mini, but it's not too overwhelming. But I've been acknowledging it as it happens, and I'd be like, I don't know if I one thing about me, ke shapo. For the most part, I believe that ke out here shapo, but also yeah, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. So we're 20 minutes in now, and we're gonna close this video off right now. I've talked about so many things, and I appreciate you guys for taking this time to listen to me, and thank you and goodbye.